Well, hello. I didn't actually expect to be doing the video right now, but I was kind of like, you know what, if strike while the iron's hot kind of thing, and yeah, I'm just going to do the mobile phone bit. Partially, I think it's a little bit of a rant with the Der Weltkrieg system. I'm not luck man, whatever. I think a lot of it has got to do with because Ken bringing up fatal alliances, and then excuse me, this morning I went on to BGG and was looking that up because I wanted to compare it with Der Weltkrieg, and there's actually some people posting mentioning like quite a while back, going, which one should I get? Should I get the Der Weltkrieg game or should I get Fatal Alliances? And in my mind, I don't know barely anything about Fatal Alliances, so I can't talk about it. With any authority or whatever, but I think it was, part of me is just like, oh, what do you want to do? I guess. I mean, if you want to get into the nitty bitty, like lots of little crazy detail. Like I said, I don't know. I can't talk about fatal alliances, but from what I gather, that's not the case. Here, this is certainly what you're going to get. But yet again, when we start looking, like, when I start reading up on recombination and divisional breakdown and core HQs and, not everything seems to mesh properly with the strength point, like how to, strength point. It's anyways, and then I look at like a game such as Space Empires 4X, where a lot of the bookkeeping or whatever is done, off board. It's done on a pad of paper. What's the difference? I mean, it gets to the point for me. I'm like, okay, how much information do you want to put on the? Like, it gets to the point. It's going to get just too clunky, and you got to just go, okay, enough's enough. It's getting so, yeah, it's just getting so clunky. You're missing the narrative, right? Missing the whatever. It's just not, that's the way I'm looking at it. And yet again with these the Alberto markers, with the, like, I'm just getting to the point. I'm like, okay, maximize the amount of information. Like, what information do I want on the counters, and the rest put off map. And I'm gonna. That's the way. Obviously, I'm going with the grand campaign. There's no bloody way I'm going any other way. And on to further no, I'm sticking with it. I'm gonna do the way Dave Schroeder has the fortress strength points. Converting to replacement units and whatever. But I do want to read up a bit more on how the stripping of garrisons were used, and those troops, were they brought straight to the front lines, aka therefore not as replacement units? Should I be able to use them straight up in a sense, or could I modify it in a sense that, okay, if you want to use them straight up and not as replacement units, maybe they're just not as effective combat strength. I don't know. I'm just saying these are things I'm thinking about. And there's the other thing about this solo interactive. And I don't think I'm ever going to get the community tab, man. It doesn't seem that way. So I'm going to have to work around that. I'm going to make maybe micro video posts or something. And, excuse me, I'm having some coffee. And just ask questions and say, please, could you put something in the comments, please? Like, what do you guys think? That type of stuff. Yeah, so that's what I'm starting to think, because I want to get this. I just love the system so much. It just needs, for me, it just needs a little bit more, whatever. And you got to remember, I mean, I think a lot of this stuff is just due to the fact, like playtesting wise, maybe that the people that were playtesting it and everything else were coming at it from the same angle as Dave Schroeder, in the sense. And so they may not have they don't do things the way I would have done things because I'm naive. I don't know. But yet again, I've heard, you see other people that have done playthroughs or videos or even posts on, on BGG or Consim forum. They've also mentioned, so it's not like I'm a one-off of, the strength point thing or so on and so forth. However, I'm going to mention, and I'm so happy. Oh my God, when I found out about who am I going to use for the 2 regiments or whatever, they're actually going to be battalions. God, I'm even breaking the rules even more. But they'll still be 1 strength point units. They're just going to be, and remember, like lots of times they keep saying, you know, on paper, these guys were whatever, but in reality, these guys were, you know, so on and so forth. They were called a division, but in reality, they were a brigade, or, you know, so on and so forth. So I did look up the 50th Reserve and the 49th Reserve divisions for the Germans in World War I. And I found, of course, there's lots of things for these guys. I don't even understand half the bloody stuff. But both of them actually, God, did some of them see a lot of freaking action. Holy shoot. Hold on here. Yeah, I got this here. So both saw action in the Battle of Wooge, and I think it's this one here. Yeah, so I'm going to look up where these rivers are, and I'll point them out later in a later post, because I was like, you know, I've got to find out where these rivers are. However, this is going to be one of the regiments. It's going to be the Reserve-Jäger-Bataillon Nr. 22, and I've got about 3/4 of the way making a special counter for it. I've made the special counter for the headquarters, which is going to be the airship, of course. And then the 49th Reserve Division for the Germans. They also saw some action in the Battle of Wooge. But man, these guys both went to the Western Front later and went to Passchendaele. I'm like, holy F, like just a lot of stuff going on there. So I've also got to look up these rivers and find out where they are, relatively speaking, on the Weltkrieg map. Oh God, I just love this stuff, man. See what I mean? Like it's not just a flippin' gameplay. This is like, I'm off into, like, get to find out about all kinds of stuff. It's wonderful. And here's the other one. The Reserve-Jäger-Bataillon Nr. 21. And I was like, okay, what the hell is a Jaeger? I have no idea. So it gets even better. I was like, okay, jeepers jumping. You got to be kidding me. So it says in Jaeger, it says here in, as the German military term referring to specific light infantry units, riflemen, ranger, scouts, runners, and I was just like, you know what, specialized. I was just like, doesn't this sound like a couple of Hobbits off to Mount Doom? I was just like, you send the tiniest little inconspicuous little, a couple of little, yeah, I think they even said here, there's one place, it's, I can't remember where it said here prior to, I think it was, you know, hold on here, Napoleonic here, and I went, okay, that's it, you're done, man. I think it was like, yeah, the lowest rank of the Jaeger regiments, equivalent to a private or soldier. I was like, oh, come on, you're off, man. So those are going to be my 2 Hobbits, the 21st and the 22nd Jaeger battalions are, yeah, they're going to be the Kriegfrosch with the headquarters, which are not going to do anything. I'm just using them as a line of communication thing, and like I said, to be part of the narrative bit. But yeah, I'm not saying that, you know, I hopefully don't think like, you know, I'm bashing the hell out of, I feel I can. You know, bashing the hell out of Der Weltkrieg. That's not what I'm doing. It's I'm just realizing its limitations for me. That's it. And for what I need to do. And if I want to run the whole grand campaign, and obviously I can't get into this micro narrative the way I'm going to have a macro narrative or whatever, and like little bursts of, you know, I'm sure there'll be certain bits of action that'll, you know, blow my mind that I want to keep talking about, like the bridge hex and so on and so forth. There'll be other, you know, whatevers. But for the overall flow, there's just going to just have to be a ridiculous amount of work off map on the paperwork, and that's completely fine because it's moving a mile a minute. It's really easy to look up stuff once the work's done. And then yet again, I can keep up with the historicity, I think that's how you pronounce it, of looking up proper divisions and the regiments and so on and so forth. So that essence is going to be the same. And then the other thing is I'm just going to look up about, you know, stripping of garrisons and so on and so forth. I'm also going to put in a couple of links to some websites that will just knock your socks off. At least they do for me. One of them is a Russian place. Just hit the translate button if you're like me. And you can like access memoirs of obscure generals, and I'm reading up on stuff about like this guy's talking about on this river we were able to see. I'm like, whoa, you're right there is what I'm saying. At least for me, I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing stuff, and it's just available free. Boink. And I'm like, oh, and all I was looking up, trying to find up some kind of like, I just was looking up, a regiment name for a certain, like part of a Russian division or something. And next thing you know, I'm like, what the hell? This guy's got a bunch of stuff about memoirs from somewhere. And next thing you know, you're like, whoa. Anyways, at least I am. So there we go. Okay. Hope you're having a great Thursday.